Hey, what's up? Out here looking for what I dub the Gurgen Grassman. So this is a section. It's kind of butted up against where we've been doing some research lately. It just goes deeper into the forest here. It's kind of next to the Sangamon River. So there's been multiple reports out here, a lot of audio evidence. I don't know if anything's out here. It's kind of a long-term research project, and just looking for evidence this morning. So follow along. Okay, we're out here in the research area again. Don't know if I'm going to find anything at all, but this is one of the areas close to the Sangamon River that audio guy Stan Courtney captures a lot of stuff. And I mean, if you look on a map, it's heavily wooded. If they're traveling, they could be traveling along the area. So let's go. I don't know if we'll get a visual sighting. I don't expect a visual sighting, but I'm kind of looking for any evidence. And maybe we'll hear something. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know if I should put bug spray on today. Should have probably put some tick repellent on, but should be okay as long as we don't go into some high weeds, and I guess you could always get them off later. Not that I want to take ticks off my pants. This is another one of those weird areas where you just have a series of juvenile trees just all stacked together, where it's getting to that time of year where there could be someone standing 40 feet off the trail and you wouldn't be able to see them. I always mention I'm not into tree structures, but I still look for structures because I don't know if they're real or not. Other people seem to think so. Just looking at the trail that's here, I do see deer tracks, so there is a lot of game. Theoretically, you know, animals will go to the path of least resistance. So if there's a creature of some type out here, using this to, I don't think that anything lives out here like on a permanent basis. I think they're more transient, and other people will disagree with that, but there's no way they would stay in a small area, especially with the population around it. It's not like there's houses right here, but I mean, the houses aren't too far from here. See some canine tracks, some deer track. So the coyotes are out here. I see a bat box or a trail count. Looks like I think that's a bat box, bat house. Here's one right here. I mean, it could be a birdhouse. Looks like it's made out of a milk carton. Lots of wildlife out today. So the Sangamon River is really nearby. Again, this is an extension of, well, I call it an extension, but it's another park that butts up against the Carpenter Park that you've seen in my previous videos. We're just going deeper into the forest along the river here. Carpenter Park is not well used. I mean, there's not a ton of people out there per day. There are some. During the week, it's nearly empty. This park, even less empty. No one really ventures this far into it. I would assume hunters do, like later turkey season. This is the first weekend, so we're in late April, last weekend of April, and I wore a hat today. But I took it off. It's actually getting a little warm while we're hiking. There is a railroad track here. I've mentioned that before. That runs through the system, but I'm glad we're finally getting a little bit warmer weather. Still seeing deer track. So when we get like really heavy rains and flooding, it does flood in this area. There's a pool over there from looks like a small pond actually. No, I think it's just a flooded area. A lot more deer track in this area, probably because of the water source that's still around. Don't hear much. A few birds. I mentioned before, like when you listen to different eyewitness reports, they talk about how the forest went quiet. I mean, and that's probably true if you have a large predator in the area. The animals would go quiet. A good example is of that is like when you're in an area with a lot of frogs and they cover a really massive area. All the frogs stop when you're walking through it. It's like a chain reaction, like one section stops croaking and then the next section hears that they stop, so they take it as a warning sign. So in essence, the forest goes silent. Well, they're going to do that with humans, people, just as well as anything else that would be in the area. So there's two possibilities there. The forest is going quiet because of you, or the forest is going quiet because of something else. It doesn't necessarily mean it's always something else. This section is kind of interesting. It bumps up against a field. Then you have this thicker section with the small saplings again. I mean, they're not saplings, but they're more juvenile trees, and I do see a game trail going through there. Haven't seen anything out of the ordinary at this time. I do see some overgrowth trees up ahead. Oh, what do we have here? Couple of younger deer. Right now, looking at this roadbed here, this path for unusual tracks, I do see a lot of disturbance. That's deer. Could be coyote and fox looking for rodents or something as well. I don't see anything that looks like giant footprints. It is a beautiful area. It's pretty thick. So I've never been back here. I've been close to it. So it's a nice treat for me to explore this area as well as you. I see a lot of game trails offshooting. There's also a lot of vehicle trails where they're maintaining. I guess there's a pipeline here too, railroad track. There's power lines that cut through. I hesitate to do a whoop because there could be people in the vicinity. I saw people earlier in a different section, not out here. I'm gonna do a wood knock though. Wood knocks aren't so obvious to people. Do you call them wood knocks or tree knocks? I call them tree knocks a lot of times because the consensus is that they're smacking a stick against a tree, but other people believe they're clapping their hands or doing it vocally. I guess until we get one on video making the noise, I don't even know if it's a real thing. That's what I'm trying to discover. Listening to some bird go off right now. keep my ears open. This area over here is ripe for people thinking there's all kinds of tree structures. I see a broken tree, I see an X formation, and I'm not gonna, if you believe that type of stuff, that's totally fine. I'm not saying it's not real. I just don't know if it means anything. Like, who decided that X formations are caused by wood apes? I think that's just a hypothesis, and people that claim that it's definitive evidence, they're kind of you, to be honest. On the other hand, who am I to judge? Because I'm just out here learning how to do all this stuff. If you didn't know, my primary role is a filmmaker. I like to do documentaries on the world of the strange. I do documentaries on, I've done one on the Big Muddy Monster. I've done one on paranormal stories throughout Illinois. I've done one on a UFO high strangeness area. So that's my passion. But I figured if I really want to, if I'm interviewing these people and learning about the subject matter, I should be out in the field. And there's nothing wrong with learning by reading. I think that's a great thing to do. But I also think it's another important avenue is to be out in the field and kind of discover stuff on your own, try to experience what other people experience. Look at things that they see as evidence and kind of judge for myself, just so I have a better understanding while I'm interviewing people. And again, I'm not judging anybody, and I shouldn't judge anybody because I have as much evidence as everybody else, or less actually. So man, it's weird how thick this is, considering it's just trees. I mean, the greenery is just now coming in. I have a banger coming for you next week, though. We're going to go to one of Illinois' biggest hot spots right now is in the Peoria County, so we'll be camping out in Peoria County and doing some nighttime investigation as well as a daytime. Working on what cameras to bring. So we're using the GoPro as the main camera for stabilization reasons. And if I use a larger camera, he'll be on a gimbal. So I know a lot of people were complaining on our last video in Asylum, or was it Asylum? Yeah, there was a lot of shakiness. I get it, and I don't like that stuff either. So it's going to be a lot more stable. But we're developing, we're trying to figure out what works best. GoPro isn't as high quality as a mirrorless camera, but it offers a lot mobile stabilization options. With a bigger camera, you have to have a full-size gimbal, which can get heavy. But I think we got to do what we got to do to make sure the footage is good. You can see how thick it is around here. Like I said before, unless something moves, it could be 20 feet out there and you would never see it. A lot of whirlybirds falling. Looking for tracks in the mud here. Like some either big trucks or heavy machinery for this pipeline. Definitely still seeing deer track or other quadruped creatures. Nothing bipedal. Getting closer to the Sangamon River, and then once we hit that, we'll start heading back east through towards the other area that I have been researching. Yeah, so next weekend I'll be with Cameraman Russ and Jason Dickerson on an overnighter, and again we'll be in Peoria County. There's been multiple reports there recently. Jeremiah Byron of Bigfoot Society has taken a lot of reports from that area, so I told him about that, and he seemed kind of excited that we were going there. One of the more well-known stories is a truck driver had a crossing not too long ago this year. And so we're excited to go there and do a little bit exploring on our own. This area is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. Getting close to the river here. Interesting area for a vehicle crossing. Check it out. Ooh, that sun's getting warm now. So the only reason I think it's like interesting at all to explore these areas is how thick the woods grow alongside the river, and that's pretty almost throughout the entire course as it travels through Illinois. So is it ridiculous to assume that, you know, if you have a creature trying to stay hidden, it would just stay, one, near the waterway where it needs the resource, and two, it has the cover. I don't know, maybe. Again, I do know some credible people that have had sightings in Ohio Indiana, Missouri, Illinois. Illinois is between those states, so if they're in those states, they'd be in this state, theoretically. I know a lot of people think Illinois is Chicago, but it's quite different in other parts, especially starting from central Illinois down to southern Illinois. The western border has a lot of forested areas. So there's a lot of bluffage and a lot of coverage. Woodpeckers out. A lot of fallen timber here. Just curious how many of you that are watching this get out into the forest. And this isn't like, I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just wondering if you do. And if you don't, I think you should try it. Even if you're not in some deep area like this, I think you should get out there and enjoy it and get healthy. Enjoy the benefits of being outside. And if you're maybe curious about the subject matter yourself, you know, that's another reason to get out. But just enjoying nature is amazing enough. Someone left a comment saying I need mental help, or saying he hopes I get mental help. Well, this is mental health, mental help for my mental health, being out in the woods and enjoying nature. Got a drowned tree across the trail and an arch. Is this a sign, folks? So there's an arch going across. This tree's been over. Did it grow this way? Or was it bent over? Hard to say, right? I mean, I'm saying it's natural. Other people might take this as a sign that this is a warning sign to stay out, because if you look at the base of this tree over here, there's no stump next to it that I can see. That's obvious. There could be. So again, this is a flood area too, so maybe it just washed up over here. You know, most likely that stuff is natural, but I pay attention to it, try to learn to, if there's any correlation between that and Bigfoot activity. Starting to see a few more mature trees in this area. Check this area out. The woods are dark and deep, even in 9:30 in the morning. All right, back on the trail after a quick break. River's over to my right, and we're just kind of paralleling the river. You can tell this part isn't as kept as the previous part. Trail's just really narrow. Nettles are growing as we speak, so this is the prime time to be going down these trails. Not in the middle of summer when the nettles are gonna take care of you. Super thick. I'd like to find an eyewitness who's seen something out here or heard something out there. I'm gonna have to do a little research to see if I can get someone to interview about this area. I find a lot of information on social media. That's how I've met a few people that I've interviewed. There's a game trail going off towards the river. So on the way here, we crossed a set of tracks, kind of heading back towards the tracks at this point. So question is, does the Gurgen Grassman exist? I mean, just looking at the area, it's dense enough. There's a lot of game. Again, does it live out here? I don't think so. Does it use the waterways to travel through and then, you know, just kind of have an area that it, like a radius? Possibly. If you listen to or read about the North American Wood Ape Conservancy, they supposedly put a tracker on something that had a 60-mile radius. So that's a pretty decent area. There's definitely 60 miles of Sangamon River and forest along the way. Much more. Cliff Barrickman doesn't believe that they're nomads. He thinks they kind of have their own area. If they're in the Midwest, I just don't see that. With all due respect to Cliff, and Cliff has been doing this for decades, and I'm a newbie, so deer. Maybe those ones we saw earlier. Oh, no, there's a third one. 4. They heard us. They came running from my left to my right. Maybe there was something behind them. More than likely they heard me though. Hey, let's go in here a little bit. I see something. Yeah, they're still running around here. So from a distance, I seen this thing over here, this X, but as you get closer to it, it's not really attached. Again, like, I don't know where people get the correlation between like X symbols or arches, and like where was that developed? I don't know. I want to do some research on that because other people don't talk about it. A lot of natural woodfall around here. But when you have an area with a lot of concentration of deadfall, there's going to be things that look like formations that are just natural. Yeah, we won't be bushwhacking in these type of forests for too much longer. When in these type of forests, the way to stay away from nettles is to be in higher ground. When you're along like floodplains, that's where the nettles get really thick. Right now they're ankle high and not affecting anything. Should have put some bug spray on. I didn't know it would be this bad. Last time I was out here, of course we're in the floodplains here. Last time I was out here, there wasn't a bug, and that was just a week ago. Still seeing deer track. I don't know, so far the only thing I've seen is that arch and that tree branch across the trail. I haven't seen any footprints. Haven't heard anything weird. That doesn't mean there's nothing out here. There's an old tree there, pretty big. I love how thick they are. I'll show you a for size comparison. So people say like, you know, they're getting something peeking out from the tree. This is how they do it. See, I mean, can you see me? I disappeared, right? That thing's 4 foot wide. Easily, you know, if it was a little bit darker, something could be 15 feet off the trail, hiding behind a tree, which would be super creepy if that actually happened. I mean, if it was a little bit farther into the woods, you wouldn't be able to see it in the broad daylight. But there are not a ton of those, but there are a lot of those in the area. So a lot of people will talk about a creepy feeling or something like that. Do I have a creepy feeling right now? No, but I'm with Cameraman Russ. I think if I was by myself, I'd have a little bit more heebie-jeebies back here, just knowing the history of the place. Never been back here before, so you get a little bit more hyper aware. But I mean, other than that, I don't think it's creepy. It is a little ominous just because it's thick, but I think if you're out in the woods long enough, you probably get used to that. I don't know. So we're getting towards the end of the edge of this area here. Is there anything out here? I don't know. Is it possible? Maybe. Like I said, there's plenty of game, plenty of cover, somewhat isolated. Yes, people do come back here, but a lot less regular basis than the other section. Have there been reports out here? Yes. Have I talked to other people that have heard things out here? Yes. So I'll continue to come out here. I don't think you're going to capture something every time. Check out our video next week. Again, we'll be in the Peoria County area if we're going to do a nighttime investigation. And until then, keep exploring.